Americanborn, Psalms of the Silent Nation, by Joseph Leo Hickey III, published by Melodeum House. Introductory Information. Harmonie and Liefie are dead. 50 years have passed since the day when Harmonie, the South African political activist, was murdered during a national television broadcast. After her death, her vision was forsaken, and the nation descended on its path of racial division, hatred, and poverty. After so long, there was still no hope of healing of the wounds caused by the crimes of the pro-apartheid government. Now, a xenophobic, communist extremist political party, known as the Sons of the Soil, has seized military control of South Africa. Many of the world's other former First World countries facing economic disaster have descended into chaos. The most notable of these nations is what is left of the United States. Harmonie was a prolific writer with great visions for her nation and left a large corpus of works behind. Some of these were found, but none were paid any notice until recently, when a new body of manuscripts was found. They, the slaves of the South, are the happiest, and in some sense, the freest people in the world. George Fitzhugh, 1857. Every shipwrecked soul knows what it means to live without intimacy. U2, Every Breaking Wave. There is neither Jew nor Greek, there is neither slave nor free, there is no male and female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus. St. Paul, Galatians 3:28 ESV.
I gave up on my dreams while I was gazing up at the clouds in my youth. That emotions are temporary, feelings pass and flutter away. If we feel these same emotions in our afterlife, our hearts will be together forever. I searched the whole wide world to find you. When I grasped your hand, I guided you, and I was led by you to places where we would find beauty together. All hatred would dissipate, it would not be able to reach me. The streets of Chicago with you. Next year you would walk them alone. All riots cascaded up and down, fires everywhere as you stand alone amidst the flames. You are the true voice of the unheard. I wish I was better at expressing my doubts and fears. Arise, O Lord, and save me, oh my God. Our revolution is a silent one. We sing all the songs of a silent nation. Same emotions in our afterlife, our hearts will be together forever. I searched the whole wide world just to find you. When I grasped your hand, I guided you, and I with you, and I was led by you to places where we would find beauty together. All hatred would dissipate, it would not be able to reach me. I walked the streets of Chicago with you. Next year you would walk them alone. All riots cascaded up and down, fires everywhere as you stand alone. And as I stand alone amidst the flames, you are the true voice of the unheard. I wish you stand alone and each other's better at expressing my doubts and fears. Arise, O Lord, and save me, oh my God. Our revolution is a silent one. We sing all the songs of the silent nation. more than ever we are drowning in the sea of no future. They burned the spar, they torched the mall, explosions in the night. I stood outside my front door and heard gunshots and felt the ash fall on my hands. The streets, which were once my home, now filled with terror. I didn't stand or creep alone. I stood amongst them, watching them marching through their crowds, lonely in a world where hope is derided. When the mobs realized they could get away with cheating, they realized they could get away with stealing, and soon after realized that no one was there to stop them. And the murder started and never stopped. A country brought to its very knees in the swell of its own revolution. There were no voices left except for the flares of flame, inebriating these dark skies, which will forever now be filled with smoke. Whenever we built something beautiful, it was burned back down again. We loved life in a world that could only fall apart. We danced amidst the flames, we wanted the morning to be different. It wasn't every day, from now on was the same. Our nation was like a war zone. The innocent were the first to die in the flames, because they had no arms to take up to defend themselves. Then the only ones left were the guilty ones. I wanted to wake up, but couldn't. No one was there to shake me. No love strong enough to force me up. I anticipated the life lived here would never end, that I would be stuck here forever. The long and dreadful path to communism. Voices arise, the revolutions flail, and from the contorting body of a revolution arises a mutant monster beyond any of our nightmares. And we followed this monster to where it led us, the authoritarian police state regime. And I knew I would never see my Liefie again. Liefie again. The days passing, like time is eternally lapsing. When I come home to my apartment after the torturous 9 to 5, working construction, arms can barely move, scrapes and cuts all over. The future is filled, was always destined to be like this. Nothing can separate us from the cancer in our bones. And I know you can hear me in your heart. I crash into my bed, unable to move, because I wish you were here, but you are not. Life is now like a burning ocean. The love we have turns to despair, and we recognize that we may never return to the world from which we were thrust out of into that night. And all of our things were thrown out onto the street. No recognition for how valuable they were to us. Hearts breaking relentlessly, one disaster after another. And dreams we have about those who steal all of our money, leaving us with absolutely nothing come true. I stand at the post office and send out letters all across the world, because we rarely pay attention to those who live across our street. In this night I toss and turn, completely unable to sleep. The hours are arduous, and because I will never be close again to the hope in my dreams that is so distant that I can only feel it in dreams, and will not experience these dreams in any other world than the one underneath my mind, beneath the upper layer of my soul. But nothing can penetrate, except when I sink and slip down further into dreams. If the light of my body is my eyes, then our dreams will be filled filled with fire, and then with darkness and ashes all across our minds. Our lives were destroyed in the season of hope, and with our lives the hopes of our nations were extinguished forever. And we slipped down the river of forever and fell down the waterfall, and we're swept far off to a place where we would never feel the warmth in the world again. Always the seething cold and the birds in the sky were nowhere to be found. The stars had also fled away, and the night was darker than the abyss itself. We floated through the river down and further down, into a place where our dreams became vicious as well, and there was nothing at all we could do to escape from the pain in our inner souls. The stores were completely looted, the life in the world was bruised, and we could not move without feeling the torment. With every step we took, we found new enemies, new corporations that wanted to take advantage of our weakness in this world. So we followed the guide in our hearts that took us far away from where we had grown comfortable. The cash in hand we never had, the closed doors of the world that told us that this world was never ours. Our enemy was our own human nature, the time within our hearts that clawed away at us, telling us that each day would pass, but slowly. And so we met each other within the world, and I remembered the songs we used to sing together. Si te vas yo también me voy, si me das yo también me doy. We could do to escape from the pain in our inner souls. The stores were completely looted, the life in the world was bruised, and we could not move without feeling the torment. With every step we took, we found new enemies, new corporations that wanted to take advantage of our weakness in this world. So we followed the guide in our hearts that took us far away from where we had grown comfortable. The cash in hand we never had, the closed doors of the world that told us that this world was never ours. Our enemy was our own human nature, the time within our heart. Throughout the world, my Liefie, you were always there when we would laugh at the anger the world had toward us. You were always there when our anthem came together as one single whole symphony. The world is our blank canvas through which we will express our charity. If you have dreams, know that I've been sinking deeply into these same depths. This morning I walked through this nation, arising from my misfortune. I spread myself wide across the states, and between the borders, Illinois will always be my home. In the desert of a world where all of us long for love, we hold on to what we have and know that this nation will never deceive. The good path that can never return into the darkness of communism, when our laws became meaningless, when the riots flooded the streets. The person who was right was always the one with the most firearms, the most maces, clubs, bats to bloody and bruise us with strength. The true rule of justice, the only measure by which we know who is right. I am the forgotten of your revolution. I am the forgotten dissident of the lost and broken piece of heaven that fall from us. So many voices I watched the videos Harmonie sent me on WhatsApp, and I could not believe what I was seeing. I will sing the songs of my no silent nation ever speaking about these atrocities. I will be here alone on my knees. About these atrocities, I will be here alone, understanding what no one is talking about. And I look out my window and see the crowds gathering in the street, chanting repeatedly. But they have forgotten love, forgotten that no liberation ever came from communism.
Fly away somewhere. The birds in the sky have found peace, but the nation hunted down and destroyed them until there were no more birds and there was no way to reach the stars. Because all the remaining birds in the world had fled to the stars, and the empire of the stars would never be seen again. We would never be greeted by love. Our president issued an edict barring all birds from ever entering this nation. But I found one and raised it, and it told me the secrets of its own family, and that the glorious life in the empire of the stars was worth dying for. Rather die than renounce the empire of the stars, where I always have belonged, where I always dreamed of living forever with my harmony. Where in this desperation I crave new beginnings in new worlds. And as the virus spread across the world, keeping us so far apart, we believed it was the only disease that could destroy us. We only believed what was expedient to believe. Feel the days passing like seconds. I know the chains that fetter us seem stronger than the raging armies, but they are intangible as the winds themselves. Our nation was mere fiction. We had no nation at all. When the nation was butchered and our houses were burnt down, they threw petrol glass into our home and it started burning. But the children were still inside, and they watched the flames, but they didn't understand why the flames were there. The flames became a real and personal force, and spoke and told us why they were here. The flames didn't care who gave them life, they destroyed us all the same. Freedom you tasted, but then it is gone forever and ever, and unto ages of ages, amen. The sores across my body from running too far, the pains in my stomach from going too long without food after the mobs destroyed the grocery store. Criminals take what they want, and if if they have a message of any kind, we rightly call them terrorists. We divide the word of truth rightly when we see them for what they are, because they will never throw down their arms. We are trampled all over the ground. The night sets in on our prison cell, and I need you more than I have ever known. Life is a hell we never realized would fall upon us. And they watched the flames, but they didn't understand why the flames. Why they watched the flames, but they didn't understand why the flames were there. The flames became a real and personal force, and spoke and told us why they were here. The flames didn't care who gave them life, they destroyed us all the same. Freedom you tasted, but then it is gone forever and ever, and unto ages of ages, amen. The sores across my body from running too far, the pangs in my stomach from going too long without food after the mobs destroyed the grocery store. Criminals take what they want, and if they have a message of any kind, we rightly call them terrorists. We divide the word of truth rightly when we see them for what they are, because they will never throw down their arms. We are trampled all over the ground. The night sets in on our prison cell, and I need you more than I have ever known. Life is a hell we never realized would fall upon us.
The fire rained down from the sky. After they torched the petrol plant, they blew themselves up in the explosion. Our president locks himself behind iron walls. He has a wicked smile and blood on his hands. Demented, deranged, heretic, liar, killer, thief, burning down our world. The one who knows not Christ, I will never let the president tell me where to go. Not when he tells me what to do. He never had a backbone against those who wanted to beat us into the ground. Punch us in the face and let the blood run. Murderer, cheater, deceiver, unlawfully elected. After they torched the petrol plant, they blew themselves up in the explosion. Our president locks himself behind iron walls. He has a wicked smile and blood on his hands. Demented, deranged, heretic, liar, killer, thief, burning down our world. The one who knows not Christ, I will never let the president tell me where to go. Not when he tells me what to do. He never had a backbone against those who wanted to beat us into the ground. Punch us in the face and let the blood run. Murderer, cheater, deceiver, unlawfully elected. The president tell me where to go. Not when he tells me what to do. He never had a backbone against those who wanted to beat us into the ground. Punch us in the face and let the blood run. Murderer, cheater, deceiver, unlawfully elected the president like.
Harmony, right? Words that shatter the world, tell us things about ourselves that we only realized in our dreams. When we are not conscious at all, I hold the memories of my family so close, even though none of them are even alive. 21 nights, my head gazing up toward 10 million skies. I wrestled with God and dreamed of the ladders I saw on the floor of your asphalt. All of them reached out toward heaven. Those climbing up those ladders never arrived. I listened to the words day and night while gazing into the looking glass that showed me all of our futures, all of our pain tonight, all of our desire to listen to the music in the night, crafting a path forward toward what we know will be beautiful, wonderful, gloriously passionate. The breath of the night, the dreams in the night that never pass, the time we spend sinking forever into those dreams. And we know our dreams only temporarily offer us a way out of the nightmare. When we wake up, my pockets are light, the world is filled with closed doors.
Oceans I see in my mind, colliding and meshing forever. I will never slow down, will always now and forever be writing about what I see in the world, about what makes me want to move, makes me want to thrive, makes me grieve, but makes me never want to die. What if the phases we had in our youth were never phases? What if the nightmarish ideologies the world had accepted as gospel would never be forgotten, always be believed in, both now and for all time? And what if there is nothing I can do to convince you that the men who led us there never had our best interest at heart? What if the money is on the other side? What if we have all the answers to the disasters in the world, but our pockets now and forever will always be empty? What if my soul has enough joy, not only to transform your life, but the lives of all in this world? What if the phases we had in our youth were never phases? What if the nightmarish ideologies the world had accepted as gospel would never be forgotten, always be believed in, both now and for all time? And what if there is nothing I can do to convince you that the men who led us there never had our best interest at heart? What if the money's on the other side? What if we have all the answers to the disasters in the world, but our pockets now and forever will always be empty? What if my soul has enough joy, not only to transform your life, but the lives of all in this world? Guaranteed
littlest phase of a mission is never just passing like the wind. The consequence of falling so deep, we would never get up or reach the bottom. For the rest of our lives we would struggle, having nothing holding in our hearts. The torment we would never expel from our souls, holding, breathing, compressing and shielding ourselves from all of the torturous and arduous labor. We would only be left alone in the world. Never realized that our government was not almighty. God could not solve any of our problems. My only power spews out from my soul, gushing out, flooding every avenue of these slums, and covers us like the dew in the morning. The welcome mat was rolled open for Malek himself into our nation. There were only opportunities to take advantage of others. No day passed when we didn't cower in fear. The men with the automatic rifles stood in front of barbed wire fences, while the president stood in his White House behind closed doors. Never known a day behind iron bars. His house of cards fell down when the truth blew it over, and then he tightened his grip on the world's those who entrusted children to the God of the world. Cannot be expected to not tighten their grip on all of us when their power is threatened. The nature of any abuser squeezing us, seizing our arms until we can no longer breathe. When we marched in the name of Marxism, we were deceived. We were on the wrong side of history. The only power spews out from our hearts, not from slogans brandished across the world. While murdering those the slogan appeals to, but by true unconditional love, we felt the brunt of the pain in our backs when the goons took us to the back alley and struck us with the blunts of baseball bats. Arise, O Lord, and save me. Oh my God, we blame the looters for our problems, forgetting when there once was a time when we ourselves had weapons in our own hands, and we cried out for forgiveness from these stones. We drowned in the blackness of the night. We washed the smog from our neighbors' homes, and the bodies of their children fall into our hands as we reached out in our backyard like snowflakes. He was a liar, killer, traitor, thief, unlawfully elected, murderer, cheater, betrayer, equal to Judas. He only comes to us with sly words and a kiss, but we know he has betrayed us. But would we have expected anything different from those who entrusted children to the God of the world?
I was walking down the street and someone scoffed at me, uttering a racial slur. I continued walking, ignoring what I was hearing. Our world was falling apart, our lives were drowned in the depth of amnesia. We forgot the world we came from. We knew that our world would never have treated us so brutally. The world was no longer the world. My home was no longer my home. In the night there was more violence than I could reason with. So I left the crowds, no longer standing in their midst, and went home away from the sounds of the guns, and walked across the oceans to America, where my Liefie held me in his warm and always welcoming arms. The bird that he rescued was there, and told me the secrets of worlds beyond those stars that no one accepted, that no one believed in. We were the ones left behind in the darkness, the shell of pain and desperation. We were left behind when the birds fled the world due to the persecution they faced from the President of the United States. No longer the world, my home was no longer my home. In the night there was more violence than I could reason with. So I left the crowds, no longer standing in their midst, and went home was no longer the world. My home was no longer my home. In the night there was more violence than I could reason with. So I left the crowds, no longer standing in their midst, and went home away from the sounds of the guns, and walked across the oceans to America, where my Liefie held me in his warm and always welcoming arms. The bird that he rescued was there, and told me the secrets of worlds beyond those stars that no one accepted, that no one believed in. We were the ones left behind in the darkness, the shell of pain and desperation. We were left behind when the birds fled the world due to the persecution they faced from the President of the United.
I blew away with the wind, knew that my time with Liefie was only a dream, that I retained all the knowledge I had learned. All the days spent alone grew and cascaded and boiled over into tears and desperation and loneliness, where we realized that none of us have the desire to vote, and even fewer of us have the nerve to speak, or else be shut down by the voices in the night that rage against us. And here we are in shadows, waiting for the morning to come. Morning will never come. The apocalypse welcomed us with open arms. The world left her all alone, not realizing her soul is beautiful, and that she had a song inside her soul. The guns in the night firing off repeatedly, so I covered my ears Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to sleep. I sank so deeply into madness that no one believed. The pain I was drenched in, I believed in what I could not see. I hoped for things I had only felt in dreams. Guns in the night firing off repeatedly, so I covered my ears, otherwise I wouldn't be able to sleep. I sank so deeply into madness that no one believed. The pain I was drenched in, I believed in what I could not see. I hoped for things I had only felt in dreams. It is always so cold, I freeze, I shiver. In this desperation, we will never be safe again. There is no bank to get money from, they burned it down. There are no grocery stores to buy food, they burned those down. There is no home to lay our head in, they burned those down. The darkness that floods the world tells us we will never be safe. In my youth, I sat under the tree, dreaming, writing stories in my notebooks about all the places in the world I would go. If only I was just a little bit older. I dreamed about my Liefie. I fell, cascaded into his arms. The world would no longer be cold, but I could only feel his embrace in my dreams. How much longer would we have to wait before we could belong only to each other, as in front of the flames? Let them warm my face. We wanted to take the things that never belonged to us. We had greed and anger and hatred in our hearts for those who lived across our street, thinking they had more things than us. We went to their homes, strangled them to death, and then took over their bodies, walked in their shoes, did their job, and realized they were no happier than us. And the things they had could not make us happy, but we also realized we had brought anguish to the lives of miserable souls. The pain in our hearts was always guiding us forward, to do anything at all, to get what we wanted. Violence grew inside our hearts until it overflowed from our hearts and spread to every person in the nation. All of us afraid for our lives. Bliss had flown away to another world when the mobs tore down her cage, thinking it was just a normal home. And she fled and walked the streets where she too watched the flames grow and consume everything in their path. Hold me in this night and don't let go of me. We might not see the morning, but at least this moment is for us. hear the current of the passing breeze. I myself feel weak in my soul, unable to make it through much longer. Always drenched in so much anxiety about every little disaster which might befall us. I greet the morning with all its uncertainty, tears swelling inside our souls from all the futures we have lost. We became so close to each other within the world we no longer held. Our differences as a wedge between us, but overnight we were driven away from each other in such a very short time. And the truth of the joy we may never have, if there is one thing I wanted, is offered in her arms, a form of acceptance I will always desire. No one can separate us from the other. Flipping on the news, seen so much turmoil within our world, which we together had always known, always cared for, always nurtured, always loved. I hear the sirens throughout the city once again, and I fall asleep to the sound of the sirens. With the stars above me, the fire of burning buildings heating up my face, smoke in my eyes, death crawls towards us slowly, certainly patient but unstoppable. The edge of the knife is what we now fear. If there is a place we can run to away from that knife, all I ever wanted was to live a life of our own, where we won't be afraid anymore, where we diligently build a world, always knowing that everything we build can simply be torn down in a single night by a wicked politician, an idiot in power, or a criminal with a bomb.
First time I visited the United States, I felt the air run through my skin, and visited the Lincoln Memorial. Stood there alone, watched as signs were paraded, and I stood in front of the White House and thought about how so much power can be misdirected, handed to someone without our best interest at heart. I fell into an ocean of uncertainty, where I knew that I would never find my place, in a world where there would be no one ever listening. And I dreamed while I was wide awake, my union with those who marched through the streets unheard, handing out flyers that would soon be thrown away and burned. My union was with those who march all up and down the streets silently, their voice taken from them, and no one can even see them at all. Not only a lost cause, but a cause that no one can conceive of. The broken spirit of our lives, when we realize that time goes on forever like this. No voice is ever heard, paid attention to, or even understood.
traversed through all the states, became one with the people there. No distinction between any of us. I floated through the air, never having time to stay in one place, always moving forward, no longer dreaming about the travesties that I witnessed. The gasoline poured all over the doors of the church. The match lit the fire that began to spread and lick every corner of the building. The steeple that fell, the graffiti left over all the walls. Burn it down, let the rich die. Power to the new progressive Labor Party. The lights went out in my room, and again I fell asleep, not knowing where I was or what nation I was drifting through. I fell so fast asleep I could no longer wake up. No one would be able to prod or shake me. No one could bend or break me, twist me until my heart comes undone. These lives we lived were long and filled with chaos. The foundation we stood on, tumbling down under our feet. The life within our bones was shrinking. No one again would have anything to eat. We thought we were wise, but we were really fools. We marched through the streets for a cause we were willing to die for, but a cause we never understood. That no one could keep us apart. As persons, no one would ever slow us down. When we were bent, we were broken, but we were molded together, all the same desire within our hearts for the truth of the silent revolution that was never popular, but was always unstoppable. No one could counter it or detract from its message. You do not see it, you do not hear any of our voices. You do not see it, you do not hear any of our voices. But here we are, marching through the world in the dark. Come dream with me on the floor of your asphalt. You will see so many visions you never would have otherwise seen. You will drown in this ocean with me, as the night encompasses us in its eternal shroud. Harmony on the opposite end of of the world has no idea what is happening in Illinois, no idea about the torture in our lungs. The iron hammer that crashes into us, smashes us into the ground. The disease of inequality, a certain metaphor that describes what we are really feeling in a way that every human person can understand. Together, all the same, but in our hearts, for the truth of the silent revolution that was never revolution, our revolution that was never popular. The world molded together, all the same desire within our hearts for the truth of the silent revolution that was never popular, but was always unstoppable. No one could counter it or detract from its message. You do not see it, you do not hear any of our voices. But here we are, marching through the world in the dark. Come dream with me on the floor of your asphalt. You will see so many visions you never would have otherwise seen. You will drown in this ocean with me as the night encompasses us in its eternal shroud. Harmony on the opposite end of the world has no idea what is happening in Illinois, no idea about the torture in our lungs. The iron hammer that crashes into us, smashes us into the ground. The disease of inequality, a certain metaphor that describes what we are really feeling in a way that every human person can understand. Still we are here dreaming amidst the flames inside that home burning down. We are too drugged up to notice what's going on around us, or the extent of the disaster befalling us. The flames sing like the birds that have left the world. They chant through the night, nothing will ever extinguish them. They grow forever and consume us all. Through these states I will travel forever, always a child of the Constitution, lover of the light, of freedom of speech. Give me truth and victory for all the times when the life in our souls is burning and we crawl, unable to stand our own ground. If you can feel the light inside your own soul, grasp it and never let go of it. In the midst of the angry crowd, brandishing their picket signs, only speaking out for those it was expedient to speak out. For no one will hear my voice or speak my name. I will travel forever, always a child of the Constitution, lover of the light, of freedom of speech. Give me truth and victory for all the times when the life in our souls is burning and we crawl, unable to stand our own ground. If you can feel the light inside your own soul, grasp it and never let go of it. In the midst of the angry crowd, brandishing their picket signs, only speaking out for those it was expedient to speak out. For no one will hear my voice or speak my name. his dwelling place and promised us everything we ever wanted. Told us that we would be happy if only we laid down our arms and gave up our fight. I never laid down my arms. I continued on my journey for victory, and then everyone else in the universe followed the Lord. But I never did, I stood my ground. He told us that if we only followed our own hearts, we could one day become as gods. But I never listened. I clogged my ears and sailed on past, and never listened to a single word he said. Always dreaming for a better future, and the communication companies banned any speech that disagreed or argued against him, and still no one thought anything at all was wrong. But I continued to write about what I knew was true. I continued to revel in the light of the truth when it was so hard to find, and the Lord of the world demanded that all the people give their children to him. But some ended up in the rivers, in baskets, placed there by grieving mothers, knowing they would have to let go of them forever. However, I was there and found them and raised them as my own sons and daughters, and taught them everything I knew about the bright and glorious universe before the time turned against us. Children to him, but some ended up in the rivers, in baskets placed there by grieving mothers, knowing they'd have to let go of them forever. However, I was there and found them and raised them as my own sons and daughters, and taught them everything I knew about the bright and glorious universe before the time turned against us. I dreamed on the floor, I sank so deep into these dreams, and I could not tell fact from fiction, desperation from hope. Every dream I had took me forward into the future. The debates in the Senate, senators striding those floors, who never spoke our names while they contort the laws to their own desires, while we wait for the control they have over our lives to be loosened. We lie down somewhere hopeless in our dreams. The uncertainty of the future was always a fog that fell over us, but deep in our souls we knew that we were alive. Somewhere deep in our souls, locked away, there was the knowledge we needed to stand up and fight, to stand up to the members of our our government. I walk the streets and know that I am the forgotten of your revolution. I am the joy in chaos, I will be your one lifeline. Hold on to me and follow me into the future. Hold on to me and follow me into the future. Hold on to me and follow me into the future. As we traveled the world, we contemplated our own place in this world. As we dreamed of our futures, we knew that we may never find our lives meeting together. On the polar opposite ends of the world, we were there somewhere alone, always dreaming about finding a better world, where these oceans no longer divided us. If you can feel my heart reaching out to you, know that I am your lifeline. In believing in what we loved, we never stopped changing the world the way we wanted it to change. Even though it was ugly and a nightmare, we took it and melded it into something very beautiful. The wind against our skin in the morning fills us both with joy as we wake up during our first night together. The love and the joy we know now. Even though I know that our worlds will soon have to fall apart, this happened when those who never met you thought they knew you, and our lives became engulfed in the flames. There was absolutely nothing we could do to stop ourselves from being consumed in the heat, overcoming us the way we wanted it to change. Even though it was ugly and a nightmare, we took it and melded it into something very beautiful. The wind against our skin in the morning fills us both with joy as we wake up during our first night together. The love and the joy we know now. Even though I know that our worlds will soon have to fall apart, this happened when those who never met you thought they knew you, and our lives became engulfed in the flames. There was absolutely nothing we could do to stop ourselves from being consumed in the heat, overcoming us.
No water could put out this fire burning the future we had planned to have together. The world itself had rejected us. The world never spoke to us, except through words of violence. The music in our souls always guided us forward when those we loved were dying in the hospital. And there was nothing we could do to help them. We learned to dance, and we danced when the politicians locked in their control through new laws enacted. We learned to dance, and we danced when we could no longer see the depth of the beautiful world. But the morning itself was dark, and the light of the day never came. We learned to dance, and we danced. the night dragged on for 1,000 years and the sun never rose on us, we never stopped dancing the breaths we took in during this dark night. As America burned, you stood there amidst the flames, every person now fighting for himself and rising from the ashes. A new police state, an authoritarian regime, the unpresident hiding behind his barbed wire fences. He always was clamping down on those he could push into the ground. I have hope for the future, so much glorious hope that we cannot describe to ourselves sufficiently, and which you would never understand, because you have never seen the love, harmony, and me shared together. Even though the rest of the world had become enthralled with its own hate, in April my home was broken into, and everything dear to me was stolen. I would never get those things back, had no insurance to replace them. Amazing how we can never get back the things we were used to having that made life easy and comfortable. Uncomfortable. I need you to hold me closer in this night, while I am shivering in the cold. The borders between our nations completely closed, and I cannot reach out to you. We are more than the color of our skin. We extend the invitation to live together, to equality, to be together. Chicago streets in this winter are so cold. The night is sinking deeper than it ever has. My pain vanishes when the night sets in and gives way to dreams. I see no grace in the world anymore. We should be lighting up the world. I need you to hold me closer in this night, while I am shivering in the cold. The borders between our nations completely closed, and I cannot reach out to you. We are more than the color of our skin. We extend the invitation to live together, to equality, to be together. To equality, to be together. To equality, to be together. Chicago streets in this winter are so cold. The night is sinking deeper than it ever has. My pain vanishes when the night sets in and gives way to dreams. I see no grace in the world anymore. We should be lighting up the world.
that day from Chicago. We rented a car and drove through so many towns, and had so many cons, and had so many conversations with everyone there about the weather and the passing days that relentlessly march on. No sign of stopping. Ever we thought we could hold on to time, but there was never any way to grasp it. Every time we held it, it instantly fled from our grasp. I greet everyone I meet, knowing that we are all only passengers on our journey. And when we returned home, we reflected on all of the violence that exists in the world, the depth of the passing hours that greeted us in the night, the life in our bones evaporating. We could no longer stand our own ground. We stood by and did nothing when the revolution began, and those who we had never met attempted to seize power over the world. We stood there doing nothing because it was uncomfortable for us in the night. I watched the flags unfurled. I was wide awake and saw the Constitution torn away and replaced with authoritarian control. I walked through Durban, seeing the flames, the buildings burning down from the mobs through the street. And I was there sleeping some distance away, but close enough that my face was warmed by the fires.
The flag of my nation no longer represented me. A nation in which I no longer felt safe, always would be afraid. For my life, no longer a place where love can thrive. What we built up for so long came tumbling down in a single instant. Structures that can take 1,000 years to build can be uprooted in a single moment and destroyed. It is so much easier to destroy than it is to create lives that are so valuable, can be ended in an instant. When hatred flows in through the folds of our hearts, we can do nothing to keep it from taking over our lives. The flag of my nation no longer represented me. A nation in which I no longer felt safe, always would be afraid. For my life, no longer a place where love can thrive. What we built up for so long came tumbling down in a single instant. Structures that can take 1,000 years to build can be uprooted in a single moment and destroyed. It is so much easier to destroy than it is to create lives that are so valuable, can be ended in an instant. When hatred flows in through the folds of our hearts, we can do nothing to keep it from taking over our lives. The flag of my nation no longer represented me. A nation in which I no longer felt safe, always would be afraid. For my life, no longer a place where love can thrive. A kiss of the ocean
ocean that embraces us when we sink beneath its waves. Tossed by these waves, we are drifting off somewhere we never planned to go, to a world where we have to fight for what we believe in. For what we believe in. Where giving isn't easy, but neither is love. When we give ourselves away, all I want is to find mercy in the moments when we realize our world will no longer be cruel to us, that the world accepted all we had to offer it, because we had never given up on the world. The light still shines in our hearts, and the world did not understand it. The web inside our souls never gave up, always pressed on in the most stressful circumstances. Vicious and eternally forceful, unstoppable and gloriously flourishing in the night where the waves of the oceans were unstoppable. We never planned to go to a world where we have to fight for what we believe in. Giving isn't easy, but neither is love. When we give ourselves away, all I want is to find mercy in the moments when we realize the world. When we give ourselves away, all I want is to find mercy in the moments when we realize the world will no longer be cruel to us, that the world accepted all we had to offer it, because we had never given up on the world. The light still shines in our hearts, and the world did not understand it. The love inside our souls never gave up, always pressed on in the most stressful circumstances. Vicious and eternally forceful, unstoppable and gloriously flourishing in the night where the waves of the oceans were unstoppable. We stood by the beach and let those monumental waves crash against our feet, and we found each other there and loved each other. Joys of the night which we used to feel when we realized that our lives would go on forever, and we could stare at this same sunset forever. Some moments are lost, some moments are found. Some are grasped tightly and slip away, but others are so valuable that we hold them in our souls and never let them go forever. They will stay in their own time, even after we are gone. We hold them and they stay here, the same forever. Of the night which we used to feel when we realized that our lives would go on forever, and we could stare at this same sunset forever. Some moments are lost, some moments are found. Some are grasped tightly,
slip away, but others are so valuable that we hold them in our souls and never let them go. Forever they will stay in their own time. Even after we are gone, we hold them and they stay here the same forever. 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 Sing forever. Forever. With you here in this moment, I sink in dreams, always so much turmoil, which we claw through, making it impossible for us to find paradise. Always looking for a way to claw out of dreams and into reality. We never move together, except when we are moving further apart. The dream of our lives is eternal. Fuck the ones who call for division and who stood there and shouted at us, who boasting in their virtue had absolutely no charity within their hearts. They followed the winds of what was expedient to chant. Marching through the streets, I have so much anger within my soul, which I cannot express. One day it will pour out of me like the explosion of 1,000,000 volcanoes. The heat of 1,000 suns, unstoppable, gloriously unmovable, and full of power in the moment when we can never hold on to each other. Thunder roaring in this night, shaking the foundations of our home. For us to find paradise, always looking for a way to claw out of dreams and into reality. We never move together, except when we are moving further apart. The dream of our lives is eternal. Fuck the ones who call for division and who stood there and shouted at us, who boasting in their virtue had absolutely no charity within their hearts. They followed the winds of what was expedient to chant. Marching through the streets, I have so much anger within my soul, which I cannot express. One day it will pour out of me like the explosion of 1,000,000 volcanoes. The heat of 1,000 suns, unstoppable, gloriously unmovable, and full of power in the moment when we can never hold on to each other. Thunder roaring in this night, shaking the foundations of our home, which I cannot express. One day will pour out of me like it pour out of me, which I cannot express. One day will pour out of me like day will pour out of me. One day will pour out of me, which I cannot express. We hold on to the beams in our basement, hoping what we spent so long building will never collapse on us. But the marching crowds are coming with torches to burn down what they never understood. As the crowds marched toward us, we did not run. We came out to greet them with a confident look on our face, and when they thought they had cornered us, we vanished because we were never really there. We were only there in their minds. We were there to torture them long after we were really gone. Like the passing breeze, the bullet that flew through the air, left absolutely no evidence that it had been here. If you can hear the thunder in this night, remember that we are safe inside. I find comfort in your arms, in this shelter from the storm.
inside my soul, and I will let it shine and flood the entire world, tumbling through these streets, cascading through the alleyways of our broken city, clawing and hammering down the walls of your heart. I let it shine out in all directions, and I never stop it from flooding the world. Pictures of our past that I remember, somewhere in the deepest part of my heart, will shine forth forever, shouting the words forever: no justice and no peace, because there will never be justice for me. Forgotten of the revolution, so many names forgotten, the least of these will be mine. There will be no peace, because I will not be in her arms ever again. The world no longer feels welcoming when we cannot even walk down the street. Without being called racial slurs, without standing here, unable to shield ourselves from the bigotry of those who had no knowledge of you, we stand here as two souls alone, walking through our city. Never again to hold each other with the wicked politicians who never listened to us. It was no longer expedient for them to say my name, harassed by the police, sadistically cruel. They took the power they were given and never let go. The congressman ruling over us sees the power he was given and never let go. We stand here while the cool wind caresses our skin, letting it freeze us, sting our skin. The days we know will pass forever. It has been so long since I felt you against my skin, so long since the day when we breathed without panic. Take the moment you are given and seize it, never let it go. Hold it so tightly, as if I was still in your arms. Time passes relentlessly. One moment, see one moment standing at the terminal of the airport with you, and then our years together go by until we are married. And then we are separated so far, on opposite ends of the world. The screws that held the world together began to fall through, and now all we see is revenge against the ones who pulled us down. The wicked politicians who kept us apart, the ones who slaughtered you. They had no idea how loved you were. The one who took our home came here one day, didn't realize how beautiful our home was. Changed all the locks on the door before deciding that they preferred to pour the gasoline, light the match, and leave.
returned home and saw the flames burning, walked in the dark to a friend's home and watched the television homes burning all across the world by those who never understood what our homes were. That we never desired to be alone in the darkness, that the light inside our soul had turned to anger. Now justice and revenge became the same. There was never again a chance to be the people we wanted to become. We could not forgive those who corrupted and destroyed and separated our families and burned down our homes because we had fallen so far from the kingdom of God. The lights of the stars lighting up the world, and I stand underneath them, knowing that these same stars are watching over you as well. Testament to us that there indeed are other worlds, that when we stand here as souls alone, none of us are truly alone. That death comes for us, one moment at a time, crawling towards us. Then we wonder where all the birds have gone. Crawling return, where will the birds have gone? Will ever been a chance to be there, understood what our homes were. That we never desired to be alone in the darkness, that the light inside our soul had turned to anger. Now justice and revenge became the same. There was never again a chance to be the people we wanted to become. We could not forgive those who corrupted and destroyed and separated our families and burned down our homes, because we had fallen so far from the kingdom of God. The lights of the stars lighting up the world, and I stand underneath them, knowing that these same stars are watching over you as well. Testament to us that there indeed are other worlds, that when we stand here as souls alone, none of us are truly alone. That death comes for us, one moment at a time, crawling towards us. And we wonder where all the birds have gone. I saw the bird flying and I knew that there was hope. The walls that we built up to keep them out were not high enough. They could still fly high, all the way to the stars. Were with those stars, they understood all knowledge, but we're not proud. We're always loving and kind, never pompous or rude. Never did they seek revenge for what the world had done to them, because their hope was always with those stars. Our Lord God made those stars so that we could have hope and see a silent reflection into heaven, so far above our heads, but glorious enough to show us the truth about what the nations never preached. Oh, bird flying and I knew that there was hope. The walls that we built up to keep them out were not high enough. They could still fly high, all the way to the stars. Were with those stars, they understood all knowledge, but we're not proud. We're always loving and kind, never pompous or rude. Never did they seek revenge for what the world had done to them, because their hope was always with those stars. Our Lord God made those stars so that we could have hope and see a silent reflection into heaven, so far above our heads, but glorious enough to show us the truth about what the nations never preached. Our Lord God made those stars so that we could have hope and see be a silent reflection into heaven, so far above our heads, but glorious enough to show us the truth about what the nations never preached. Ooh, 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 to show us the truth about what the nations never preached.
From now on, all we wanted was mercy for the spite we had for others, for the life in our veins that faded away in these moments. We are as divided as the nations themselves. All of the borders of our worlds have been shut for so long. No sign that they will ever open these borders. No sign that the world will repent and that its nations will turn from their path. I stand here as a soul so alone. You cannot see my soul, yet you believe. You know everything about me, but really there's no knowledge at all, and no desire for knowledge. I ride in my car from Joburg to Durban. I see all of the faces as I drive in the burning grocery stores. My car was damaged by a mob and I barely escaped. The car stopped running before I could return home. So I walked the rest of the way and was silent in that night. The streets of Chicago are always the same, welcoming in their fog, growing greater with every passing day.
Here we are in the night. We never thought we would be separated for this long. No way to reach out to you, no one to say your name, but I hold you close as a lover in my soul. I dream on the floor of the asphalt. You are no longer there. I dream of flying through South Africa after you are gone, but I will never return there. I follow you into that dark night, and I do not walk quietly in it. I hold you closer than my own soul. When the world turned against you is when I finally turned against the world. I had no choice, but the world came to challenge me and threw my head violently into the dirt. The darkness within our souls clawing into us, following us everywhere we go. Today I feel the world growing, eternally seething cold, as my teeth chatter, as I shiver, and then eventually stop shivering. There will be no one to welcome us in this abode of loneliness. You are no longer there. I dream of flying through South Africa after you are gone, but I will never return there. I follow you into that dark night, and I do not walk quietly in it. I hold you closer than my own soul. When the world to you are gone, how do I the world. I had no choice, but the world came to challenge me and threw my head violently into the dirt. The darkness within our souls, clawing into us, following us everywhere we go. Woe to that my own soul. When the world turned against you is when I finally turned against the world. I had no choice, but the world came to challenge me and threw my head violently into the dirt. The darkness within our souls, clawing into us, following us everywhere we go. Today I feel the world growing, eternally seething cold, as my teeth chatter, as I shiver, and then eventually stop shivering. There will be no one to welcome us in this abode of loneliness.
The map of the United States on the wall of my bedroom. The days that pass when I know that all of us in this same world we're striving to find a way to find another in the ocean of nothingness, the regime of hopelessness. One day I was sitting at a diner in Tucson, Arizona, and so many thoughts came to my mind about how fragile our worlds are, how we can lose so much in so short of a time, how in this world there will be no mercy for any single one of the souls. Oh, oh, crying out for reconciliation. How the streets of Chicago now resonate hollow, like the deepest part of my soul. So empty and open to you, ready to be filled with anything. If you can hear me crying out in the depth of the night through these words, you would know that the words themselves are all we need. Oh, oh, crying out for reconciliation. Oh, 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 what oh, oh, crying out for reconciliation. Oh, 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 with the deepest part of my soul, so empty and open to you, ready to be filled with anything. If you can hear me crying out in the depth of the night through these words, you would know that the words themselves are all we need. Stuck in the middle of a certain point in our lives, where we are eternally caught in a fit of panic, desperation, and trapped by cruelty. The music in our minds, which tells us now and forever lonely souls still are valuable, that those who stand alone are no longer hopeless. That in the moments of desperation, while they cry out for help, that someone can reach through time and hold on to them. In a moment where loneliness is all they have, there will be salvation for all those lost in the world, who are eternally unheard, for whom it wasn't expedient for the mobs to say their names, for whom lost their lives as a result of unspeakable cruelty. When the police still harass us, we take the law into our own hands and stand up fighting for ourselves. Our nation was a mere fiction. This is the story of everything I've been experiencing since the day we were separated. Opportunists, evil and wicked thugs and terrorists burned the gas station, and the explosion was heard many kilometers away. Even the school where I learned how to dream, how to write, and how to think for myself was burned. The Orthodox church I attended was not spared. I watched the video as the woman poured the gasoline all over the building, lit the match, and nonchalantly walked away. The looting started and did not stop. The grocery stores were totally empty, and there was no way for any of us to buy food at all. From then on, anytime they restocked the shelves, they were looted and stolen again. And the police stood there and did nothing, did not stand up about any of these things. They were eternally useless fools. Instead of fighting for us, they ran the other direction. Instead of calling in the army, our president fanned the flames of the riots and called for more racial division within our nation. An uprising, a coup, a coming war.
The leaders of the nation didn't care about those who lived across their street, because the police protected them, and no one else. From the fires, from the flames that crawled all up and down these empty streets. Molotov cocktails filled with petrol and flame thrown through the windows of homes of friends who I once loved, who I promised I would always be there for. After the violence, only God could put out the flames, no one else could. There was a single flock of birds over my head that landed on top of the rubble of my home after it had burned to the ground. They stood there and didn't leave for several hours, wondering what had happened to me or where I had gone. But I would never return there again. All I could do was speak out against the violence. In one sense I felt powerless and hopeless. In another sense, nothing could destroy the hope in my soul or prevent me from spreading it to you. Ooh. Without anywhere to buy food, I wandered through the province and looked for a place to settle down. But from then on would walk through the streets as a nomad, never staying in one place, always there, trying to rebuild the entire world. Those who we never met had eternally altered our fate, eternally twisted our futures into something ugly and cruel. I walked through what was left of the spar,
and saw the bottles broken all over the floor, the trash littered everywhere. In this moment I knew that all I could do was draw things out of the finite and into the infinite. Hold on to the love in my soul, only accepting the truth of what is glorious and beautiful, rejecting the savage lies that cut through our hearts and burn us when they prod us with their cruel art. When we stand here forever, our souls alone, hoping to find for ourselves the acceptance we always needed. But in the arms of the other, there were so many oceans between us that I couldn't cross them. And there was no way at all to fly across those oceans. I couldn't swim because my arms were not strong enough, and I would certainly die before I reached you. I would never find you in the night, the despair within my heart. And no matter how far I walked, I wouldn't hold you at the end of the journey. Over my head, the nation no longer a safe place, the nation of mere fiction. In fact, there was no nation at all, only a facade, no law or order. Just a nation that would soon descend deep into the darkness of communism. We will never see the beautiful in the world because of the man-made forest fires that obliterated the remains of our homes, which had already been torched and destroyed. The smog filling the sky, the 1,000 years of darkness that now was falling over the world. Now that the Dark Lord of this world had controlled it and demanded sacrifice and children, and we gave the Dark Lord our children rather than raise them or protect them as our own. There was no one to welcome the children, they would all be gone forever. No hope for future generations, no hero in the future would rise up and stop the plagues. We were the last ones in the world who cared. All of the good people had been compromised or slain. place, the nation of mere fiction. In fact, there was no nation at all, only a facade, no law or order. Just destination that would soon descend deep into the darkness of communism. Driving through the streets of Chicago, and a car cut me off as I was driving. Kept brake checking me until my car crashed into him. And as soon as I exited the car, he punched me in the face and pummeled me into the ground. And blood streamed down my face and never stopped. The light of this morning, life moving forward. The gas inside our souls never running out. Always pressing us forward through so many raging waters, through the oceans of time. I follow you to places I never knew I could reach. I reached out for love and for the stability which I would never have. A simple life where, in the moments of dissonance, we hold on closely to the joy in our own souls. Where the clanging noises in the world never form a coherent song. We compose, warn ourselves from all the noise. We grow closer to being who we never thought we could become. The light of this morning, life moving forward. The gas inside our souls never running out. Always pressing us forward through so many raging waters, through the oceans of time. I follow you to places I never knew I could reach. I reached out for love and for the stability which I would never have. All we really want is a simple life, where in the moments of dissonance we hold on closer than, oh, closer to being who we never thought we could become. The dreams of time passing so quickly within the world. One day we are here, the next we are gazing enthusiastically up at the stars. And we gaze at these same stars every night forever, until the end of this very world. The light of this morning, life moving forward. The gas inside our souls never running out. Always pressing us forward through so many raging waters, through the oceans of time. I follow you to places I never knew I could reach. I reached out for love and for the stability which I would never have. All we really want is a simple life, where in the moments of dissonance we hold on closer than who we never thought we could become.
In this night, I know you can feel the clamor of the discordant voices. In the fierce depths of diligent love, we hold ourselves closer to each other, we never let go. We walk through this world hand in hand, and our touch is closer than that of our skin against skin. Our lives are more joined together than the way our souls mingle. Cross these oceans with me and find somewhere new, where we can live together forever. Let the dreams flood into let it dry, so that between now and the end of all time, these names will stay there forever. The instruments of our own expression, held closely in our hearts. We never stop speaking, moving and thriving. Cross these oceans with me and find somewhere new, where we can live together forever. Let the dreams flood into our minds. Crave the new beginnings in a new world with me. We wrote our names in wet cement and let it dry, so that between now and the end of all time, these names will stay there forever. The instruments of our own expression, held closely in our hearts. We never stop speaking, moving and thriving. Cross these oceans with me and find somewhere new, where we can live together forever. Let the dreams flood into our minds. Crave the new beginnings in a new world with me. We wrote our names in wet cement. Cross these oceans with me, where we can live together forever. Let the dreams fly into our minds. Crave new beginnings in a new world with me. We wrote our names in wet cement and let it dry, so that between now and the end of all time, these names will stay there forever.
Unspeakable violence within our world, I never understood it. I always wanted to reach out to you in love, but this love was met with spite and anger, and there was no way to escape from the darkness encompassing the world. It would cover the whole world. The sky would be dark for 1,000 years, from all the smog of all the homes that were burned. The ash fell into my hands as I reached out, as if it was snow. My hands now black with the ash. I go inside and rinse my hands in the now filthy tap water. No one in this world stands for what is right, and the ones that do are censored and pulled headfirst into the ground. Tasting the dirt, we never were invincible. All we had was the simple strength within our souls that prodded us forward, despite how ugly some things in the world had become. We always knew that the world was growing darker. And there was no way to escape from the darkness. There was no way to escape from the darkness encompassing the world. It would cover the whole world. The sky would be dark for 1,000 years, from all the smog of all the homes that were burned. The ash fell into my hands as I reached out, as if it was snow. My hands now black with the ash. I go inside and rinse my hands in the now filthy tap water. No one in this world stands for what is right, and the ones that do are censored and pulled headfirst into the ground. Tasting the dirt, we never were invincible. All we had was the simple strength within our souls that prodded us forward, despite how ugly some things in the world had become. We always knew that the world was growing darker. We always knew that the world was growing darker. rich against their mind on the earth of whose soil they were truly sons. I will always learn more about the world, head buried in books, relentlessly young within a world that derides us for the hope in our souls. We listen to music, hopeful songs like Owl City, and we know that it is possible to be happy within the world. However, we do not know if we will ever have the happiness we crave. Tonight is the coldest night of the year, and I shiver in its depth. I fall deeper into its mesmerizing, hopeless caress. There will no longer be songs when all we desire is the warmth, when our sickness grows each night, until we find ourselves on the same bed on which we will take our last breaths. Come here with me forever and hold me closer than a lover, and I will breathe in and you will feel me exhale against your skin. Knowing that even though love is hard, was never perfect, we will always crave salvation in the night, when the world is no longer kind or even safe. I can still hear the raging fires throughout the world while I lie down in this bed, and the nation we used to call home rejects us. We no longer have any nation at all. Even their light would for us soon grow dim, and I stood in the middle of the street as the cars crashed around me. Load shedding would now be permanent. Every day from now on, no shops would be open again. There was never another excuse. The government of South Africa could no longer control us, because there was no longer a soul to squeeze, until our guts all came out, because none of us had any blood left to spill. We had lost it all. Even their light would for us soon grow dim, and I stood in the middle of the street as the cars crashed around me. Load shedding would now be permanent. Every day from now on, no shops would be open again. There was never another excuse. The government of South Africa could no longer control us, because there was no longer a soul to squeeze, until our guts all came out, because none of us had any blood left to spill. We had lost it all. Lost it all. We had lost it all. We had lost it all. We had lost it all.
There can be no reconciliation while homes are burned to the ground. There can be no peace within these souls of ours, while we are separated by governments that have never heard our names. Our lives cut short, our stars realign every time the world changes. And there is unspeakable violence in the world, preventing us from standing our own 2 feet. Closer to me each second as the years go by. We realize that now we understand each other. We love each other, we cherish each other. We have nothing to prove to any authority or any principality. We simply are what we
flesh and blood that we strive against, but with principalities themselves, with darkness that floods the world. The lights of the city were blinded, now all the lights have gone. Now all the lights of the city are flames and burning cars. In this moment, when we are more desperate for salvation than we have ever been. Hold me in this moment, don't let go. Always dreaming with me on the floor of the sidewalk. Hold me in this moment, don't let go. Always dreaming with me on the floor of the sidewalk. There can be no reconciliation, our homes are burned to the ground. There can be no peace within these souls of ours, but we are separated by governments that have never heard our names. Our lives cut short, our stars realign. Every time the world changes, and there is unspeakable violence in the world preventing us from standing our own 2 feet. Here in this moment, hold me, grow closer to me each second. As the years go by, we realize that now we understand each other, we love each other, we cherish each other. We have nothing to prove to any authority or any principality. We simply are what we are. Legal recognition means nothing to us, because what God had ordained, no man can separate. There is joy in this moment when we stand on opposite ends of the world, but we rage against the armies of the Dark Lord. Not with flesh and blood do we strive against, but with principalities themselves, with darkness that floods the world. The lights of the city were blinded. Now all the lights have gone. Now all that lights the city are flames and burning cars in this moment, when we are more desperate for salvation than we have ever been. Hold me in this moment, don't let go. Always dreaming with me on the floor. We watch the fires burn as we lie together on these sidewalks, and then stride through the city. We reach the beach and I sink my feet into the ocean at Cape Town, knowing that if I swam far enough I would reach him. We are no longer free to love in this night, with such violence flooding throughout our worlds. We know we will never feel at peace with the world again. There was nothing left but a war zone and desolation where our homes used to be. We joyfully waited for the end of all time, or at least for the birds in the sky to return to us sometime at the end of the world. But not enough of us speak the language of the birds. Willing to learn the lessons they have to share with us. The glory of the single star I gaze at, none of the other stars break through with their light toward us. We gaze at this star, knowing there are others just like it. And after 1,000 years of darkness, the fog has to clear, and we will see and feel hope that our nation will stop developing backwards, and we will find a way to thrive in the world after we rebuild everything that burns down. I don't see this ever happening. All life on earth would sooner be extinguished. God would sooner return and flood the world with unspeakable justice. Knowing all secrets about us, He would flood the world with His truth and His love. There was no longer anything at all we could hide from the other. All secrets forever uncovered. Amazing how the sand sinks beneath my feet when I look out at the sunset on North Beach. And every single step I take takes me further away from you. We hunger for the life we would have shared. If only we could reach out and hold the other. Hold on to me in this moment, and we will never
never willingly forget about the other. All love for each other was always open in the arms of the other.
Continued to pass, and we could not hold them. And those who marched through our streets with torches in their hands never heard our story. That light passes like the blink of an eye, long before our time. When the government seized control of the media, abandoned the Constitution in the name of safety, I knew we were tumbling down into tyranny. After members of the new Progressive Labor Party marched through these streets with bricks and Molotov cocktails in their hands, I knew the lessons I shared were never learned. Whenever the person they didn't vote for wasn't elected, they would riot and burn down the cities. So we locked ourselves inside our doors we locked ourselves in streets with bricks and Molotov cocktails in their hands. I knew the lessons I shared were never learned. Whenever the person they didn't vote for wasn't elected, they would riot and burn down the cities. So we locked ourselves inside our doors on election night. We no longer were voting for the person we wanted to lead us. We were voting out of fear for our businesses and our very lives. These communists who once spoke out for equality, but now were openly racist, it was only a facade. Communists who once spoke out for equality, but now we're openly racist, it was only a facade. They thought one group of people were superior only because of the color of their skin, and I felt eternally derided, like the hope in my soul was seized from me, never to return to me, always to drift so far away from me. With the election of the president, I was now afraid for my life, no longer safe on these streets, always intimidated by the police, unwelcome in my own nation. Such a bloody history. Lessons unlearned, we forgot the words of the saints and of the Constitution, which was now openly being burned in the streets. It fell headlong into the future, never to return to me, always to drift so far away from me. With the election of the president, I was now afraid for my life, no longer safe on these streets, always intimidated by the police, unwelcome in my own nation. Such a bloody history. They thought one group of people were superior only because of the color of their skin, and I felt eternally derided, like the hope in my soul was seized from me, never to return to me, always to drift so far away from me. With the election of the election of the election me, of the election of the election of the election me, of the election of the election, always to drift so far away from me. With the election of the president, I was now afraid for my life, no longer safe on these streets, always intimidated, I was now afraid for my life, no longer safe on these streets, always intimidated by the police, unwelcome in my own nation. With such a bloody history, lessons unlearned, we forgot the words
words of the saints and of the Constitution, which was now openly being burned in the streets and fell headlong into the future. They thought one group of people were superior only because of the color of their skin. And I felt eternally derided, like the hope in my soul was seized from me, never to return to me, always to drift so far away from me. With the election of the election of the election me, of the election of the election of the election me, of the election of the election.
Every shipwrecked soul knows what it is to live without intimacy, and that we were always here only to lose. When we sink into the waters of oceans where we will never arise, and we never understood that both our nations are cascading down the same dark path. Every wave that crashes against our skin tells us the stories of 1,000 sailors who look for land, the soil beneath my feet, the very soil of whom I am a daughter. But in some sense it would be better for them never to find the shore, never to fall into the blindness of racism. Always be standing here together, fighting against the waves together, no reason to separate from another. And the ones on the same ship become the family. There would be no way to divide themselves from the other, when all they needed was to work together and fight to survive. I stood alone and watched the waves roar against the ocean when we were sleeping in our beach cottage, stagnant here forever. Change my mind, we are traversing through a world that never understood us, and that the justice we crave will never be attainable, and that justice can never be separated from love and reconciliation, because they are united so closely that no one can separate love from justice or find truth in the moments when we are persecuted for the color of our skin, because we know that our skin is beautiful no matter what color it is. The superficial differences between us that are not important at all, we make these differences the most important. All that truly matters is the hope within our soul, trusting and falling into its ocean, never escaping from it, never being away from it. We will never return to the world from which we were thrust out of. We'll always fall headfirst into the depth of despair. When we are driven into the ocean, having nowhere else in the world to go, no nation that will ever accept us or take us back. We always will disintegrate when we are prodded without ceasing. Only so much we can take before we are paralyzed. Oh, 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 oh. And we never be alive. Oh, 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 oh. And we are persecuted for the moments when we are persecuted for the color of our skin, because we know that our skin is beautiful no matter what color it is. The superficial differences between us that are
not important at all. We make these differences. The most important, all that truly matters is the hope within our soul, trusting and falling into its ocean, no matter what color it is. Never being away from it, being away from it, no matter what color it is. Never being away from it. We will never return to the world from which we were thrust out of. We'll always fall headfirst into the depth of despair, when we are driven into the ocean, having nowhere else in the world to go. No nation that will ever accept us or take us back. We always will disintegrate when we are prodded without ceasing. Only so much we can take before we are paralyzed.
Makes the whole world blind, a soul for a soul. And there will be no one here living in the world. Never forgiveness, always pride in our vices. Despair in the vigilance of the world, where here we stand alone. Alone, all who speak out against the rage within the world are thrust down into the ground, and they are never lifted up. Thrust down into the ground, and they are never lifted up.
Today will be the longest day of my life, with both of my eyes glued to the television, terrified of what I saw on the news, that we were transcending into fear, and no one again would be brave enough to speak out against the cruelty within the world that cascaded forever into a cycle of torment, and that there would no longer be forgiveness of any kind. The warmth of the fires, they never go out until they exhausted all of the homes in the world for fuel, till everything we loved was in rubble. Insatiably hungry, dreadfully powerful and merciless, not discriminating against us more than those who set the flames. Some of those who set fire to our homes made mistakes while setting the fire and burned themselves to death. This is our world, and it will be whatever we want it to become if we choose hatred and fear instead of speaking out. There will be no one in the world left to defend us at the end. If the love within my soul is turned to anger, because I am the only one here speaking out. If the desperate shell of the world is broken, then I will tell you all things about the future. The sun will rise, but we will not see it. It will be covered completely by the smog for 1,000 years. Here we stand alone, no way to move anywhere else, no way to get any food. And the government didn't care, or didn't have the power to help. We were on our own, left here in the shell of the world, where the fires now and forever will burn down everything that we loved. Where there is no nation in the world that would accept us, where we can live together forever as one human family. Here in this world we stand as souls alone, losing power, giving funds to rebuild our homes. They took the money and built bigger walls around their own fortresses, where they would hide and feel confident that the mobs would never come
for them.
I gave up on my nation and knew that I would never leave it. But it was no longer welcoming for me, no longer a place in which I could live and thrive, or even exist as I am. I was afraid for all the pain of the future, the silent people who believed the things I did, but never lifted their voices to speak. Drinking in the promise of the future, and then realizing that this future is nothing but a mere fiction, a world where we can never attain the love we strove to find. The afterlife calls to me, and the birds will carry me through the air after I am gone, far up into space to a place I know I will always belong. The night is freezing, the police flood the streets, the threat that held our lives together snapped and we fell and hit our heads on the concrete. My voice was taken from me long before my time. I could not speak. When I raised my voice, all that came out was dread silence. Fear protruded from my heart. I freeze as if in the cold, confronted by trauma. The crowd came together as one and chanted death to the old world. Let the skyscrapers fall. No borders, no walls, no USA at all. While the rocks were thrown through our windows, we shouted back, we're on your side. 10 minutes later, our home was in flames. Violence knows no bounds, nothing can ever restrain. And the lawless nation is no nation at all. No one standing up to defend the innocent. There was no one innocent left at all. We beg for forgiveness from these gravestones. We lied to ourselves when we believed those buried 4 feet under could even hear us. My voice was taken from me long before my time. I could not speak. When I raised my voice, all that came out was dread silence. Fear protruding from my heart. I freeze as if in the cold, confronted by trauma. The concrete we fell and hit our heads on the concrete. My voice was taken from me long before my time. I could not speak. When I raised my voice, all that came out was dread silence. Dread silence. Fear protruding from my heart. I freeze as if in the cold, confronted by trauma. The crowd came together as one and chanted death to the old world. Let the skyscrapers fall. No borders, no walls, no USA at all. All the rocks were thrown through our windows. We shouted back, we're on your side. 10 minutes later, our home was in flames. Violence knows no bounds, nothing can ever restrain it. And the lawless nation is no nation at all. No one standing up to defend the innocent. There was no one innocent left at all. We begged forgiveness for these gravestones. We lied to ourselves when we believed those buried 4 feet under could even hear us.
Threw down our arms and let the new order take us over. We sank so deep into the ground, so far from equality. Really, we were all equal, all returning to the same dirt. Watch the world burn with me outside the shell of my car. Come here and listen to the sound of the quiet birds and the explosion of the fireworks from the firearms that were stolen and fired into the face of the glass windows. I cry out in my desperate dreams for salvation in this night. Pointless violence, the kind that I never imagined, would flood the streets I used to call home. There would be no turning back. There would be no redemption for South Africa. There would be no silver lining. If you can hear my voice, listen to me, this is my lived experience. The dreariness through the night, when violence knows no bounds, when they don't care if you are homeless, alone, or even pregnant. They take what you have, not knowing how valuable it was to you. Threw down our arms and let the new order take us over. Sank so deep into the ground. Watch the world burn with me outside the shell of my car. Come here and listen to the sound of the quiet birds and the explosion of the fireworks from the firearms that were stolen and fired into the face of the glass windows. The Lord of the world demanded worship and directed us forever away from the stars, which had fled from our skies forever. The nights were darker than ever. We tormented those we never understood. The world, they started with sorrow, which burst through with unfathomable anger, pain, panic, fight and flight in a world that would never again be friendly. I was cruising through the street during the worst day of the hate march through the city. Light was changed for darkness, darkness was changed for light. Tonight we lie together on the floor of my asphalt. Together we can dream, though still today we are on opposite ends of the world. I know they won't be listening. I know hate drowns out love. It goes by many names, but violence knows no bounds. The graffiti on the walls of the buildings calling out for revolution. But you won't see me in the dark, you won't hear my voice without being silent, quiet, ready to listen. If you know the ache in my heart, you will feel the panic deep inside. The war within my heart to stay sane. I can no longer sleep in the same room where that man broke into my home, threw me against the bed and threatened to kill me. Was violent through the city until I screamed out for help, although no one could hear me at first. There is no
that you have a gift, the ability to listen closely to me as I stand amidst the flames and sorrow for the world we've lost, the way the world could have been, which we will not have, and is now gone forever. Gone down, business to burn down the house now. What we've built up so long comes tumbling down. If you can hear my voice in the still and quietness of this night, know that you have a gift, the ability to listen closely to me as I stand amidst the flames, in sorrow for the world we've lost, the way the world could have been, which we will not have, and is now gone forever. Mr. God, sit there now. I felt your breath so far away. I dreamed of dancing with you, and that no one could take me away from you. I dreamed we had a home together in Costa Rica, and that nothing could ever keep us apart. The simple, dreary dreams we had, the life we always wanted. Though we didn't have much money, we were happy. These busy streets, where the wind bustles against our ears, where we stand in shadows, and knew that we had found our eternal home. A life under the same stars, but always so far apart. I held you closer in the night, I never let go. We danced together in the moonlight, we burst through the metaphor of the song. We two had become elevated, we took what we had. In love we would become something new, united and passionate. I worked all day long and dreamed about coming home to you. I held the words close to my soul that gave me hope. I would read the words of the poets, and the words of the songs resonated within me. We let the music flow through us. I've held you, I kissed you, I crawled through the dream of the world like beer across the floor from the broken bottles. I've held onto you, holding firmly, never letting go, always revealing the truth in my soul. As I held you, all I needed in that moment was just a touch, when no one would feel or recognize what they couldn't see. Though we loved each other, hand in hand we walked the streets of San Jose. Truthfully, we didn't care where in the world our home was. We were everything in the arms of the other. We were patient with each other, waiting for the day when I could call you my own. Danced together in the moonlight, we burst through the metaphor of the song. We two had become elevated, we took what we had. In love we would become something new, united and passionate. I worked all day long and dreamed about coming home to you. I held the words close to my soul that gave me hope. I would read the words of the poets, and the words of the songs resonated within me. We let the music flow through us. I've held you, I kissed you, I crawled through the dream of the world, like beer across the floor from the broken bottles. I've held on to you, holding firmly, never letting go, always revealing the truth in my soul as I held you. All I needed in that moment was just a touch, when no one would feel or recognize what they couldn't see, that we loved each other. Hand in hand we walked the streets of San Jose. Truthfully, we didn't care where in the world our home.
Fell in the night, in the dip to catch a life was everything we experienced when we were salsa dancing. The devil on the outskirts of the city could not find us, not here. This was our home, a place we could call our own. Forever here we found a liberty. Your dreams became our hopes, your fears became anxieties. No longer separate and alone, now we would dream as one, forever and always patient with these dreams. We wanted to be where the other was, somewhere falling asleep on the couch alone, after the hangover, after the stress. Beginnings, we were given crowns, we wore them passionately and bravely, and confronted the world wearing them, never taking them off. We held hands, and God gave us everything we needed. Our kingdom was small, but greater than the whole world. There was always more to discover, and more to love, and to passionately care about, to see as passing stars. God sealed us, and promised to never leave us. He gave us a home where we would never be threatened. He gave us a love that we could always share, open in the arms of the other, nothing to hold back, always everything to give, always everything to learn. The flowers of the passing time, beautiful and always alone in the night, when no one can see them. We stay here and never wanted to leave. The gift you gave me blew me away, and my heart was unable to sustain itself, unable to not burst, open for all to see. So much love that nothing could contain it. When you hold me, feel the rhythm of my breath, the truth in the life of an eternal future. Some days the wind grows chilly, and we do nothing except shiver, unable to move. Our song grows silent, our lives become transparent. You can see through all of our pain in the words I proclaim to the world in the morning of the storm. Oh, and then the silence of the passing days. Oh, is joy in this moment, bursting forth, gliding out into the future. I would have walked thousands of miles to get to you. Over the mountains, during the war, into the peril of disaster. Each day we were fighting for each other, to find a way to be with each other for just another moment. Beautiful and always alone in the night, when no one can see them. When no one, we stayed here and never wanted to leave. The gift you gave me, blew me away, and my heart was unable to sustain itself, unable to not burst. Open for all to see, so much love that nothing could contain it. Beautiful and a moment of my breath, the truth in the life of an eternal future. Some days the wind grows chilly, and we do nothing except shiver, unable to move, unable to move.
Our song goes silent, our lives become transparent. You can see through all of our pain in the words I proclaim to the world in the morning of the storm. And then the silence of the passing days, I fall asleep and dream next to you. There is joy in this moment, bursting forth, gliding out into the future. I would have walked thousands of miles to get to you, over the mountains during the war, into the peril of disaster. Each day we were fighting for each other, to find a way to be with each other for just another moment. We were hammered down into the ground, overcome by despair that there were two sides at war, and the money was on the other side. Our side was patient and could withstand any length of time, because all that exists is time. Our magic was inside our own souls, and whatever magic I had, I got from you. I knew that the mystery we had fallen into, we could never unravel, even if we meditated on it between now and the end of all time. My love, my ocean, my anchor, my rescue, my daylight crashing through the darkness, guiding me home to you. A single touch enough to understand you, and no one can love you like I do. And I always want you to be mine. Desperation within, souls alone, runaways from their own place. We will meet somewhere far away, where we can be together, where the world is sane and doesn't keep families apart, and would never damn our hearts, burn down our homes, or allow us to sit alone when I've lost my strength to write. And the world is nothing but a mundane passing of time, and I can't keep track of the days. I think of you, all I want is to nap with you here in this moment where we ran off together. No one can follow us or bring us down. No law can contain us or trap us, we wear the crowns. I took a break from writing, couldn't get myself to lift my pen. Surrounded by the darkness, I retreated into my apartment and sat in the shadows, gloom upon my face, books books I would never read again. Lives untouched by the overwhelming confusion of whether or not we will find the world we have dreamed about. And how I will always take for granted the things I have and lose them forever. There was love in the world, there was joy in the arms of love. There was mercy, and love was unfiltered and flooded the avenues of a broken cistern, which now overflows, quenching the thirst of the world. If you can feel the love in the arms of compassion, you are luckier than most in the world. While we stay up all night long, we labor in our tears. If you know anything about the passing time, come and hold me so close and whisper the secret in my ear. I wandered through the world and we found each other, and we ran from the creatures that sought our souls hand in hand. We ran through the night to lost souls, drenched in the pouring rain, never to feel secure again. We found a place to sleep, and we slept there together, and expressed our love, and became wholly complete, while remaining unique and separate. Journey through the dreadful world, we encountered many people, and we could not save them when they were sinking into the sand, consumed by it and drowned in it.
You don't have to be perfect, you just need to be open. The rays of light seeping in during this morning of isolation. I have risked everything to be close to you, to hold you as an emerald soul, when the world cannot see the value in the love we hold together. Hold me closer than the magic you hold close to your soul. With me 303 on the flight to South Africa. We passed through the turbulence, we passed over the oceans that are now dividing us. I sit back and think about love, and how there is no excuse not to express our love, while I pour my love out for you. I am walking underneath the bridge, the darkness enveloping every corner of my body. I walk through the empty city. The stars and satellites light up the entire world, guiding us as our only source of light in the moment. When both of us feel alone, when both of us feel alone, we can be drenched in confusion of which path to take, but the angels still guide us through our lives eventually. The dawn comes in the city, and I wake up on the park bench and watch the people move in quick motion. I would sail across the oceans to get to you, no limit I wouldn't go to get to you. No anthem loud enough that will drown out our song. I miss you like I miss the sunlight, guiding me and warming my skin. I love you like no words I say will ring hollow again.
Every word will be exact, resonating and full of purpose. Come with me and walk during the night. Hold me close and we will both find our way home. I could tell you forever about all the things I am lacking. I wouldn't go to my body. I walk through the empty city. The stars and satellites light up the entire world, guiding us as our only source of light. In the moment when both of us feel alone, we can be drenched in confusion of which path to take. But the angels still guide us through our lives, eventually.
Sinking through my front door as I lay desperately asleep, deep in dreams. These dreams are unlike any I've had in my life. In these dreams I am clinging on to hope, surrounded by voices telling me to give in. And in these dreams I am the only one who believes in the world of being awake. But no one else believes this world can be found. No one believes that life can get any better. We are in Chicago, we are watching the fireworks. We are desperate to be home in the arms of the other. Love lives slowly and despairing. Not enough money to do anything but wander these streets alone. No, I'm alone. No, I'm alone. No one will ever use any words other than the ones you are using to describe what you are feeling. One chance to unravel what is inside our own hearts, burning up in the cold, exasperated at the heights we have soared and the days we have roared for just one more chance to become the persons we were always meant to become. We are desperate to evacuate the classroom where there is no love, burning up like paper in the wind, lost in a world we will never find again. You are dreaming in this world you are longing to forget the one who loved and left. You know that only so much is left in your heart that can be broken before there is nothing left to break. And all that remains can only be insulted, but cannot be destroyed. Believes that lie. Words could make you cry. What if I had something to say that would remind you of places gone and people who have long passed away? Times where there was celebration, watching the sunset. Now the sunset stands alone. I have a box full of memories that I never opened. I have a binder full of burned CDRs of all the songs we listened to years ago. But we will never use those CDs again. They just sit there, and as they sit, they collect us. And eventually the CDs are so damaged that no one will listen to what was on them again. If only you could feel the insides of my soul. If only you had a cure for the poison in your inner self. If only there was a way we could thrive in this desperate world. Now the world has become a desperate shell of what it once was. Hollow and enigmatic, spacious, a world we could fill with anything we want to fill it with. I am angry about so many things. The world cries out for help and is rebuked, is forsaken, is never seen or heard from again, is suffocated, is choked. The damage has been done, the life has been permanently destroyed. A little resurrection is all we need, a little desperation to find a world other than the one we exist in now. The CDs are so damaged that no one will listen to what was on them again. If only you could feel the insides of my soul. If only you had a cure for the poison in your inner self. If only there was a way we could thrive in this desperate world. Now the world has become a desperate shell of what it once was. Hollow and enigmatic, spacious, a world we could fill with anything we want to fill it with. I am angry about so many things. The world cries out for help, it is rebuked, is forsaken, is never seen or heard from again, is suffocated, is choked. The damage has been done, the life has been permanently destroyed. A little resurrection is all we need, a little desperation to find a world other than the one we exist in now.
Desperate to find this world, we run in circles after it. We cascade against the pain in our own hearts. You run to the police to tell them about those who are threatening us, but we forget how or why, and then no one can save us. There is a light that passes through the sky and reaches down to this earth, and we can now see everything in this world clearly. We can walk this world and see the hollow crevices of the sphere we find ourselves on. We write long poems because we know that we are all here for the long haul. Nothing can separate us from the love of the light that pierces through the ceiling. We find ourselves in dreadful classrooms over and over again, where all we can do is stare at the ceiling until the day our sins are forgiven. If it is possible to look past such things and live, despite the pain we have caused others, despite how merciless we were to those who were in need, who were in these same classrooms with us, learning the same lessons through the sky. It reaches down to this earth, and we can now see everything in this world clearly. We can walk this world and see the hollow crevices of the sphere we find ourselves on. We write long poems because we know that we are all here for the long haul. Down to this world clearly, and we can now see everything in this world clear, in this world clearly. We can walk this world and see the hollow crevices of the sphere we find ourselves on. We write long poems because we know that we are all here for the long haul. Nothing can separate us from the love of the light that pierces through the ceiling, and we find ourselves in dreadful classrooms over and over again, where all we can do is stare at the ceiling until the day our sins are forgiven. If it is possible to look past such things and live, despite the pain we have caused others, despite how merciless we were to those who were in need, who were in these same classrooms with us, learning the same jumping all over the place. And when I speak, there is joy in the hearts of those who eventually hear my dying voice, because they will know what a miracle it is to hear the voice of another. They will know how painful life can become without good things to look forward to.
I will hand out books to people for free. I will write the password to my heart on the front page of these books. I will speak the original password long after it is changed and no one recognizes it. But I was the first one to get here, and I was the last to leave here. I was the first to envision a future in which both of us are joyfully together. Come and greet the sunrise with me. Come and greet the new day of promise. Come and greet the new day of good success. Come and say goodbye to the night where we could not see, and we were powerless, unable to fight for ourselves, unable to be who we wanted to be. There is a joy in getting lost inside the pages of a book and meeting the world you are familiar with. There is joy in the arms of a lover. There is reconciliation in finding the pieces of heaven and piecing them together. There is a desperate truth in the words I speak to you, hoping you will understand them.
Deep caresses of warmth that only come in the folds of your love. Tracing all this charity back to you, I fall into your embrace and bask in it for several lifetimes. And I desire to stay here, feeling your love forever. Dilapidating wars, ruin of nations collapsing, and I stay here, joy always welcome in your arms. If you are the moon, then I am the sun. The moon illuminated by the lights, giving it back to a lonely world. If you have found the stars, I am right beside you on the greatest adventure with you. Each day we were alone on opposite ends of the world. You sat and waited, gazing at the lights on the mountainside. Gunshots never waver and lights always fading until dawn, when morning pierced through the clouds. I waited here for several hours. I scribed out love through my words, and I loved you. I scrambled to call out to you, but no one could hear me, so I implored the wind, and it carried my breath to the moon, which always reminded me of you, of you. I loved you in the chaos of the wind, and my own precious breath was lifted by these winds where it would live somewhere forever. I slept beside you in my dreams. I clawed with my mind in the desperate hours of night. And I welcomed the days passing, hoping they would bring me closer to you. If you have found the stars, a weight of nations collapsing, and our greatest adventure with you, on the greatest adventure with you, illuminating us with you. If you have found the stars, I am right beside you, on the greatest adventure with you. Each day we were alone, on opposite ends of the world. You sat and waited, gazing at the lights on the mountainside.
Life, the culmination of creation. We spread our wings, ready to create this world for the first time. We are never afraid of what we might discover in the dark of the night. All we know is that the wind never calms us, it only batters our home and silences so many voices that would have otherwise been boisterously loud. In this night, I had a picture on my wall of the States, always wanting to return. So many places within this world to see, but I never knew that the borders would be completely shut down. The things we owned lost their value. We stopped loving them and held on only to love. The streets had become empty, once filled with people selling things all up and down the street. The life within our veins was broken, dull. Our debts were insolvent, our bravery was gone. The days in which we cascaded headfirst into the storm are gone. The shallow ground beneath our feet gave weighty doubts which we fell through and never again escaped from.
Writing forever words about what I think the world will be like in 50 years. The world will cascade into anger and hatred until only lawlessness prevails, and an authoritarian government rises from the ashes of the chaos. Birds in the sky were gone because they knew what was about to happen. In the world they were created by God first, and had a deeper connection to this world and the stars above their heads than we ourselves had. They fled from violence, and their joy in their souls was like gasoline, and nothing could extinguish it. I read her words as I sat on the beach, and I knew that she had predicted everything we were going through for her. The malls and homes never burned, but she was writing about the experience I was having now, but never to find her life I again. The death of star-crossed lovers was a premonition of the things that were to come. With both of them gone, there would be no way to escape. The world descending on its course, cascading into the flames. The one she was writing about, but never experienced, but were so real to me.
act up anymore. We need to be together, unlock the doors, and we will flood the streets. Those with so little take from those who have almost nothing. The fires flood the world, so real to me. And soon we will all know the pain of being burned, being prodded and bruised, pricked in the side. The robots in the street have all gone out forever. We are on the boulevard of the lost world. Here I am, walking alone down these lonesome streets. Nothing but debris from the stores that were completely looted. Nothing but cancer in our bones. The grass itself is burning. They raged against the earth, it gave them life. If you can hear me in your heart, hold me closer as the one voice of reason in your soul. Even when everyone else in the world has gone completely and irrevocably mad, I walk outside and feel the rain on my face falling from the blue sky. The jackal is marrying the wolf's wife. Now in the streets I will always be alone here. All my friends are dead, we're left so many voices, and animosity, violence toward the other is all that is left. People I once knew, but will no longer recognize, turned against each other violently in the street. One man started shouting, "Fuck off white man!" Where fields of flowers once were, there are gravestones, and in front of the gravestones, these same flowers cut up and laid on the tomb. They are dying like the light inside our souls now, and eternally no one can ever stop the light within. The blossoming flowers going out forever. Forever.
Layers of myself unravel like the time I forgot mine, filled to the brim with regrets. I remember when we stood together. Now time has taken you far away, somewhere I could not follow, and I sit somewhere in the amphitheater of the time we forgot together. The same scene, verse of the song passing by with the thought ripping into my mind. But at the same time, my life is torn between what I see and what I believe. No one coming down to save me. Life churned like a burning sea. My eyes were wide, never stopping, always moving forward to what we desired. The city burning up without forgotten truth on flights across the nation. Nothing looked familiar, looking out at the ground of this world where I have one desire, to become a great writer. My only purpose in this life, to explode with passion like a soldier, never giving up or letting go of the love I believe in, always holding on in the world while it turns and brings us to places where I always sit patiently, watching the time pass. The vicious nature inside me was never calm, always violent like the oceans of a distant world that we will never find. Always wander away from where we are. Come here, hold me during the storm. Anchor yourself so that you will no longer be moved. I was there waiting outside, writing somewhere between the clouds and the grass. Hold me closer in that storm. The weather growing immensely, never changing our minds about those we hate. Always swelling in with emotion, as those who would never reveal their face led us away to a place where we would stand alone, holding our hope to the flame. And it burned, we spoke to those flames.